Welcome to a story that changed the world. This is not just a business story. This is not just a success story. This is the story of Microsoft, a company that started in a tiny dorm room and became one of the most powerful empires in human history. It's a story of vision, failure, rejection, obsession, transformation, and ultimate dominance. A story where one young boy decided to dream bigger than anyone else and then actually built it. And today we use his dream every time we open a computer, every time we use Word, PowerPoint, Excel, or Windows. But behind all that technology is a story of struggle, fights, betrayals, genius, and reinvention. In today's video, we begin the true story of Microsoft. From a college dropout to the world's richest man, from a tiny software contract to a company worth over $3 trillion. This video is also great for your English learning. We use clear, simple English to help you understand every moment. And you will learn English and success together. So grab your notebook, because this isn't just a video. This is a masterclass in how to think, how to lead, and how to win. Before Microsoft became a global empire, there was a boy, not rich, not powerful, not famous, just a boy with glasses, a fast brain, and a deep obsession with computers. That boy's name was William Henry Gates III, known to the world as Bill Gates. He was born in Seattle, Washington, USA. His father was a lawyer, very disciplined and strong. His mother was a teacher, warm and smart. From a young age, Bill Gates was different. While other kids were playing outside, Bill was reading encyclopedias. He didn't just read stories. He read the dictionary, the World Book, even legal documents for fun. At the age of 7, he was already thinking like an adult. He loved logic, numbers, and solving problems. As a teenager, Bill went to a private school called Lakeside. It was expensive, it was elite, and it had one thing no other school had at that time: a computer terminal. This was the 1960s, and back then, most adults had never even seen a computer. But this school had a deal with a company that allowed students to experiment with time on a mainframe computer. And Bill fell in love. He skipped gym class just to sit in front of a screen, typing strange commands, solving problems, breaking things, fixing them. He wasn't alone. There was another boy, Paul Allen. He was older, more quiet, more focused, but just as obsessed. Together, Bill and Paul started hacking into the computer system. Not for money, but to learn, to understand, to go deeper. They were caught and punished by the school. But something amazing happened next. Instead of banning them, the school offered them free computer time in exchange for helping debug and improve the system. And just like that, Bill Gates and Paul Allen got their first real-world programming job as teenagers. Before Microsoft, they started a small company called Trafo Data. It sounds strange, but it was smart. Cities had machines that counted cars on roads. Bill and Paul wrote software to analyze traffic data and help cities improve road planning. They made a small amount of money, not millions, but it gave them experience in writing code for real customers. While still in school, Bill Gates read an article about the Altair 8800, the first affordable personal computer. Something clicked. He told Paul Allen, "This is it, the future. We must build software for this." So they picked up the phone, called the company MITS that made the Altair, and said they already had software ready. But here's the truth. They hadn't written a single line yet. They got the meeting anyway. They worked non-stop for weeks to actually build it in time. And when they finally showed it to the company, it worked. MITS bought their software, and that was the beginning. Bill Gates was just 19. Paul Allen was 21. They moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where MITS was located. And on April 4th, 1975, they officially founded Microsoft. Bill dropped out of Harvard. Yes, Bill Gates was a Harvard student, one of the most prestigious colleges in the world. But after starting Microsoft, he made a decision. I can always go back to school, but this opportunity won't wait. He dropped out. He risked everything, his future, his parents' trust, his education, for one belief. The future of the world will be shaped by software, and he wanted to write that software. Microsoft was now real. Two young boys, Bill Gates and Paul Allen, in a small office in Albuquerque, writing software for the new age of personal computers. They had no office furniture. They ate fast food. They coded 18 to 20 hours a day. Their business wasn't about glamour or design. It was about logic, function, and efficiency. But something else was happening in another part of America. While Microsoft was focused on software in Silicon Valley, a young man named Steve Jobs had a different dream. Let's build the most beautiful personal computer ever made. He teamed up with another brilliant mind, Steve Wozniak. And in 1976, just 1 year after Microsoft was born, Apple Computer was founded in a garage. While Bill Gates was building software, Steve Jobs was building hardware. In 1979, Steve Jobs invited Bill Gates to come visit Apple's headquarters. Jobs showed Gates something shocking. A secret project called the Apple Lisa, a new computer with a graphical interface. Instead of typing commands, you could now click icons with a mouse. This was revolutionary. Until then, computers looked like black screens with green text. But the Lisa had windows, icons, menus, and clickable folders. Bill Gates was stunned. This was the future. Apple, believing they had the lead, hired Microsoft to build software for the Macintosh, their next big computer. Microsoft made Word, Excel, and other programs for Mac. But secretly, Bill Gates had a plan. He was working on his own operating system, something that would compete directly with Apple's software, but run on any PC, not just Apple's expensive computers. This system would be called Windows. When Steve Jobs discovered that Microsoft was working on Windows, he was furious. He called Bill Gates and accused him of stealing Apple's ideas. But Bill Gates replied with calm logic. Well, Steve, I think it's more like we both had this rich neighbor named Xerox, and I broke into his house to steal the TV, but you already stole it. What Gates meant was this. Both Apple and Microsoft had borrowed ideas from Xerox, a company that first invented the graphical interface, but failed to see its potential. Jobs took it. Gates took it too. But Gates was more strategic. Instead of building expensive hardware like Apple, Microsoft would build Windows software and sell it to every computer manufacturer in the world. That one move would change everything. Microsoft officially launched Windows 1.0. It wasn't perfect. It was slow. It was buggy, but it had something Apple didn't. Open access. Any computer maker, IBM, Dell, Compaq, HP, could install Windows on their machines. And just like that, Microsoft became the default software for millions of new PCs. Windows kept improving. New versions came out. Windows 2.0, Windows 3.0, and then Windows 95. That release changed the world. Microsoft launched Windows 95 like it was a rock concert. They paid millions to use the Rolling Stones song, "Start Me Up," in the commercial. People lined up at midnight to buy it. It sold millions of copies within weeks. Soon, over 90% of computers in the world were running Microsoft Windows. Apple couldn't compete with that scale. Microsoft became not just a company, it became a standard. As Windows took over the world, Microsoft became a money machine. In the mid-'80s, Microsoft went public. The share price started small, but within a year it had multiplied. Bill Gates became a billionaire at a very young age, the youngest billionaire in history at that time. By the late 1990s, his net worth crossed into the hundreds of billions. Microsoft became the richest tech company in the world, valued at hundreds of billions of dollars. And remember, this wasn't just one product. Microsoft now had Windows, the core operating system. It had Office, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. It had Internet Explorer, its own browser. It had Outlook and Exchange for email and business tools. Bill Gates was not soft. He was known for his aggressive management style. He grilled his employees during meetings. He had a sharp tongue and quick mind. He worked 16-hour days and expected others to do the same. But he also had incredible focus. He believed in software before design, function before fashion, and long-term dominance over short-term hype. He wasn't building something beautiful. He was building something essential, and the world started depending on it. By the end of the 1990s, Microsoft was worth hundreds of billions, running on over 90% of the world's computers, holding what many considered a monopoly in the software market. But then came part two, the fall of the giant. Lawsuits, mistakes, and the fight for survival. By this time, Microsoft was everywhere. It was no longer just a software company. It was a tech empire. Windows was on almost every computer. Microsoft Office was used in homes, schools, and businesses around the world. Bill Gates was the richest man alive. The company had tens of billions in annual revenue, and its market value was larger than the GDP of most countries. But when you become that big, something else also becomes big, the target on your back. Competitors were angry. Smaller companies felt crushed. And governments began asking a question. Is Microsoft too powerful for the world's good? In the late 1990s, the United States government officially filed a lawsuit against Microsoft. The accusation was serious. Microsoft was using its power to crush competition. The government said Microsoft was forcing computer makers to use Windows only, killing off smaller competitors, giving away Internet Explorer for free to destroy other browsers like Netscape, and controlling the software world like a monopoly. This wasn't a small case. It was the largest antitrust case since the breakup of AT&T. Suddenly, Bill Gates, once seen as a genius and innovator, was painted as a greedy, ruthless monopolist. One of Microsoft's biggest mistakes came during the trial. Bill Gates gave a video deposition, a recorded testimony. Instead of helping, it became a disaster. He appeared angry, sarcastic, and defensive. He gave short answers. He refused to accept obvious points. He looked arrogant. The public reaction was harsh. People began to ask, is this how the richest man in the world behaves when questioned? The government used this footage to show the world that Microsoft had no humility, no responsibility, and no respect for fair competition. After months of trial, the judge gave a shocking judgment. Microsoft should be broken into two separate companies, one for Windows, one for everything else. This was a bombshell. If that happened, Microsoft as the world knew it would disappear. Investors panicked. Tech stocks dropped. Bill Gates went from hero to villain in just a few years. But Microsoft didn't give up. They appealed the decision. They hired new lawyers. They made changes. They promised to open up their software for third-party developers. And after years of fighting, the final decision came. Microsoft would not be broken up, but it must follow strict rules to avoid abusing its power. They survived, but the damage was done. The world no longer saw Microsoft as a scrappy startup. Now it was a giant that everyone feared. In early 2000, Bill Gates stepped down as CEO. He chose a new leader, his longtime friend and partner, Steve Ballmer. Friend and business partner, Steve Ballmer. Ballmer was loud, energetic, passionate, but not a technical genius like Gates. He had a business mind. He focused on enterprise growth, sales, and product expansion. Under Ballmer, Microsoft grew even bigger, but it also started making strange decisions. Let's break them down. The mistakes Microsoft made in the 2000s. The mobile disaster. When Apple released the iPhone, it was not just a phone, it was a pocket computer. Microsoft had a mobile system called Windows Mobile, but it was clunky and hard to use. They had the technology, they had the money, but they missed the smartphone revolution. Later, Microsoft tried to recover with Windows Phone, but it was too late. Apple and Android had already won. They also bought Nokia in an attempt to enter the phone market, but it failed. The Nokia brand collapsed. Microsoft had to write off the investment, a multi-billion-dollar loss. The Bing struggle. Microsoft wanted to challenge Google in search, so they launched Bing. They spent billions of dollars on marketing and tech. But even after years, Bing remained small. Google held most of the market. Bing was mocked. It became the browser you use to download Chrome. Windows Vista and Windows 8. The product flops. Windows XP was loved. Then came Windows Vista. Heavy, buggy, slow. Users hated it. It damaged Microsoft's image. Then came Windows 8. A confusing design with no start menu. The familiar experience was gone. Again, users were angry. Businesses refused to upgrade. People called it a disaster. While Apple was creating magic with iPhones, iPads, and MacBooks, while Google was inventing Gmail, YouTube, Android, and Maps, Microsoft became known for slow software, ugly phones, complicated updates, weak innovation. People said, Microsoft is big, but it's not exciting anymore. The world had changed. Apple had the cool factor. Google had the future. Amazon was building its cloud empire. Facebook was buying the next generation. Startups were rising everywhere. And Microsoft, it was still selling Word and Windows. The fire was gone. That's when a man quietly stepped into the CEO's chair. He wasn't loud. He didn't wear black turtlenecks. He wasn't a billionaire genius. He was an engineer, a thinker, a man of calm energy. His name was Satya Nadella. Who is Satya Nadella? Born in Hyderabad, India. He studied electrical engineering in India, moved to the US for higher studies, got a master's in computer science, and later earned an MBA while working. He joined Microsoft in the early 1990s. For over 2 decades, he worked inside Microsoft in silence. He led teams, built products focused on cloud computing. He wasn't chasing the spotlight. He was chasing improvement. When he became CEO, few outside the company even knew his name. But what he did next changed everything. Nadella didn't start by launching a product. He didn't start with profits or spreadsheets. He started with people. At that time, Microsoft had become slow, political, divided, full of ego and internal competition. Teams didn't work together. Leaders were afraid to take risks. Nadella knew before changing the product, he had to change the mindset. So, he introduced a new philosophy. Don't be a know-it-all, be a learn-it-all. He pushed the company to listen, learn, collaborate, and adapt. He told engineers, don't protect your product, fix it. He told leaders, don't talk about yourself, talk about what problem you're solving. He encouraged humility, empathy, and innovation. This shift, though invisible, was a real beginning of Microsoft's comeback. Satya Nadella had a clear vision. The future of computing is in the cloud. So instead of putting all energy into Windows, Office disks, or phone hardware, he focused on something bigger: Azure, Microsoft's cloud platform. At the time, Amazon Web Services was the leader in cloud. Microsoft was far behind. But Nadella didn't care about competition. He cared about execution. He invested billions into building data centers around the world. He told businesses, let us run your software, your storage, your computing from our cloud. Slowly, companies listened. Azure grew fast. From a small division, it became a core engine of Microsoft growth. Today, it generates tens of billions of dollars every year and stands neck and neck with AWS in global market share. Under old Microsoft, anything outside Windows or Office was a threat. Linux was the enemy. Android was competition. iOS was ignored. Open source was rejected. But Nadella saw things differently. He said, we're not here to fight the past. We're here to serve the future. So he made bold decisions. Microsoft joined the Linux Foundation, released software for Android and iOS, made Office available on Mac, iPad, iPhone, and Android phones, supported open source projects on GitHub. It was shocking, but it worked. Developers who once hated Microsoft began to trust it again. Instead of selling Office on CDs, Microsoft made a cloud subscription, Office 365. For a small monthly fee, users got Word, Excel, PowerPoint, cloud storage, email, Outlook, Teams for video meetings. This model was genius. It gave users constant updates. It gave Microsoft recurring revenue. And it created a sticky ecosystem that people stayed in. While Sony's PlayStation dominated the console market, Xbox had always been second. But under Nadella, Microsoft started thinking long-term. Instead of just selling consoles, they focused on Game Pass, a subscription service for gamers. For a small monthly fee, users could play hundreds of games across Xbox, PC, and cloud. This made Microsoft different. They weren't selling boxes. They were selling freedom to play. During the pandemic, remote work became the new normal. Video calls, online meetings, team collaboration. Microsoft launched Teams, an all-in-one workspace for chat, video, files, and meetings. Within just a short time, Teams exploded in growth. It became essential not just for companies, but for schools, hospitals, and governments. Nadella also made bold billion-dollar investments that shocked the tech world. He bought LinkedIn. Everyone asked why, but it worked. LinkedIn's user base exploded. Microsoft integrated it into Office, Outlook, and AI tools. It became a huge revenue source. Then came GitHub, a platform for developers. This was a trust play. Microsoft told coders, "We support your work." GitHub kept growing, and so did Microsoft's image among developers. Then the historic purchase of Activision Blizzard, the largest gaming acquisition in history. Microsoft now owns Call of Duty, Candy Crush, World of Warcraft, and more. A massive move to dominate gaming across console, cloud, and mobile. Let's look at what happened to Microsoft under Nadella's leadership. Its market cap skyrocketed from stagnation to one of the most valuable companies in the world. Microsoft, once seen as slow and outdated, became exciting again. Microsoft's value skyrocketed. Azure Cloud brought in massive revenue each year. Office 365 became a money-making machine. Gaming turned into one of the most profitable divisions. The stock price multiplied many times over, and Microsoft once again became the world's most valuable company. But more than the money, Satya Nadella brought humanity back to Microsoft. He shared his personal journey. His son Zane was born with cerebral palsy. Nadella spoke openly about empathy, pain, and seeing the world through others' eyes. He built a company that wasn't just about code, but about people. Part 3, the future in their hands. How Microsoft is quietly building the next world with AI. By the time the world noticed the AI revolution, Microsoft was already ahead. While other companies were still debating what artificial intelligence could do, Microsoft was already building, investing, and integrating AI into everything it touched. This wasn't a small shift. It was the beginning of a new era, and Microsoft had been preparing long before anyone else understood its true scale. What is AI and why it matters for Microsoft? AI, artificial intelligence, is no longer about robots or science fiction. Today, it means writing human-like text, understanding spoken language, analyzing massive amount of data instantly, making decisions, offering suggestions, and even creating code. It's about helping businesses, students, creators, and doctors in real time. Microsoft saw AI not as a feature, but as a new platform, like Windows was decades ago, or like the internet was at the start of the millennium. This time, they wanted to own it from the very beginning. They partnered with a small but powerful company called OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT. At the time, most people had never even heard of it. But Satya Nadella and his team understood one thing. Whoever controlled the most powerful language models would shape the future of how humans and machines interact. So Microsoft invested deeply. They didn't just provide funding. They gave cloud power through Azure so OpenAI could train its massive models. In return, Microsoft gained exclusive access to integrate these models directly into its own tools. And that's when everything began to change. Instead of creating a separate AI app, Microsoft quietly embedded AI into the tools people already used every single day. Word, Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, Teams, Edge, Windows. They called it Copilot because this AI isn't your boss. It's not taking over. It's flying with you like a second brain. In Word, Copilot can summarize long documents, rewrite text in different tones, generate reports from just a few points, or brainstorm creative headlines. It's not a spell checker anymore. It's a thinking partner. In Excel, Copilot transforms natural language into instant charts, forecasts, and insights. Even beginners can use it like experts. In Outlook, Copilot summarizes email threads, drafts polite replies, and clears hours of inbox work in minutes. In Teams, Copilot creates live meeting transcripts, lists action items automatically, and even answers questions about meetings you missed. For developers, GitHub Copilot became a game changer, an AI partner that writes code, suggests fixes, and accelerates learning. Millions of coders around the world now use it. In Windows and Edge, AI became built-in, summarizing pages, generating content, answering questions, and powering Bing's conversational search. Microsoft built a full-stack AI ecosystem. Infrastructure, models, tools, cloud, and desktop. They became the only company controlling every layer. While others argue about risks or hype their own apps, Microsoft stayed focused. Backhand index pointing right, make AI useful. Backhand index pointing right, make it invisible. Backhand index pointing right, Make it powerful for everyone. They didn't rely on flashy marketing. They put AI directly into the hands of billions of people. Quietly, Microsoft became the most important player in the AI revolution. At the same time, they worked on safety. They built responsible AI guidelines, internal safety teams, and partnerships with researchers to prevent misuse. Their goal wasn't reckless speed, but safe speed, something many competitors struggle to balance. The impact is everywhere. Doctors can summarize medical records instantly. Lawyers can scan thousands of legal documents in seconds. Students can learn faster with real-time answers. Businesses can cut costs and boost productivity. Teachers can build lesson plans in minutes. Writers can create books and scripts. Coders can build apps and websites at lightning speed. AI isn't replacing people. It's amplifying them. Satya Nadella even rewrote Microsoft's mission to empower every person in every organization on the planet to achieve more. And with AI, they're doing exactly that. Microsoft is no longer chasing the world. They are building the world the rest of us will use next. 605. Tools are turning walls into windows and villages into classrooms. 36:10. Microsoft Teams for Education used in over 180 countries. Teams is not. 36:17. Just for business. It connects students to teachers, schools to each other. 36:24. Parents to school progress. In countries like India, Ghana, and Brazil, Microsoft. 36:30. Helps small schools bring world-class education into classrooms that once had only chalkboards. 36:36. Children who had never seen a computer now attend live lessons. Submit. 36:42. Homework and ask questions all through Teams. 36:47. Reading progress. Microsoft launched Reading Progress inside Teams, a tool. 36:53. Where students can read out loud and AI tracks their speed, accuracy, and pronunciation. 36:59. It helps teachers support students one by one, even in overcrowded classrooms. 37:04. And the best part, it works even with weak internet design for developing. 37:10. Countries. This is AI for education at a level that matters. Immersive Reader. A. 37:17. Tool inside Word and Teams. It helps dyslexic children, non-native English. 37:24. Learners, visually impaired students. It reads text aloud. It highlights words as. 37:31. It reads. It breaks complex language into understandable chunks. Now a 37:37. Student in rural Kenya learning English for the first time can read confidently. 37:42. Without needing a private tutor. Healthcare saving lives with digital tools. Microsoft is not a hospital, but 37:51. Hospitals around the world run on Microsoft. Let's look at how AI-assisted radiology. 37:59. In India, Microsoft worked with local health organizations to build an AI model that detects diseases from X-rays. 38:07. Especially tuberculosis. Many rural areas don't have enough doctors. Now, a single chest scan can be 38:14. Uploaded, and AI gives a report within minutes. 38:19. Doctors use this to detect illness early, saving thousands of lives. 38:25. Cloud-based hospitals. In the Philippines, small hospitals use Microsoft Azure to manage patients. 38:32. Records, medicine supply, staff schedules, health data securely. This 38:38 cuts down paperwork, increases safety, and makes treatment faster and more reliable. 38:44. Crisis response in Ukraine. During the war, Microsoft helped protect government. 38:50. Data. Supported nonprofits and helped relocate refugee families using digital. 38:57. ID and tracking systems. They didn't just send money. They sent cloud power. 39:04. Security and infrastructure. Things that let humanitarian work continue even when cities were. 39:11, collapsing. Agriculture helping farmers with AI in rural Africa. 39:18, Latin America and South Asia. Farming is still unpredictable. 39:23, Microsoft created AI sewing app with local governments in India, a tool that 39:29 gives daily crop advice to farmers based on weather, soil quality, seed type. 39:36, climate history. A farmer who once guessed the best time to plant seeds now. 39:42, gets a text message with exact instructions and improves his yield by 30 to 50%. 39:50, before only huge companies could afford powerful software. Now with Microsoft's. 39:55, low-cost tools. Even the smallest shop can create invoices with Excel. Market. 40:03, their products with PowerPoint or ClipChamp. Host virtual client meetings with 40:08, Teams. Track sales with Power BI. Accept payments and manage schedules. 40:14, with bookings. Store and protect data with OneDrive. In Vietnam, a woman who 40:21 sells handmade bags online, uses Word to write product stories, Excel to track. 40:27, costs, PowerPoint to make her catalog, and Teams to talk to buyers in France. 40:33, and Japan. This is not a tech revolution. It's a human revolution powered by Microsoft. 40:41, every day, Microsoft blocks billions of cyber attacks. Their security tools are 40:47, used by governments, hospitals, banks, airports, even small personal websites. 40:53, they don't just react to attacks, they predict them. Using AI, Microsoft can. 41:00, detect phishing emails, fake websites, data breaches, malicious code. They even 41:07, help vaccine companies protect their research during the pandemic, shielding it from cyber spies. Microsoft builds 41:14, tools for everyone, including those with visual disabilities. 41:21, hearing loss, mobility challenges, cognitive impairments. 41:27, some of their innovations, I Control, lets users type using only. 41:34, their eyes, dictate speak instead of typing. 41:39, live captions for hearing impaired in Teams. High contrast mode for vision. 41:46, support, seeing AI describe surroundings to blind users using a phone camera. 41:52, these aren't side projects. They're built into every Microsoft product, making technology truly equal. 42:00, creativity, empowering artists, designers, storytellers with Microsoft's tools. 42:08, writers create books using Word plus Copilot. Video editors use ClipChamp 2. 42:14, edit short films. Architects use PowerPoint to visualize building plans. 42:19, designers create social posts with Designer AI. Musicians use OneDrive to store, and 42:26, share audio files. YouTubers use Azure AI tools to transcribe videos. Add 42:32, subtitles and even translate voice. One storyteller in Nigeria used 42:38, PowerPoint and AI voice tools to create an animated children's book. Now, 42:43, downloaded over 200,000 times. That's what empowerment looks like. 42:50, FedEx uses Azure to track every package and optimize delivery. 42:56, Emirates Airlines uses Microsoft for crew scheduling and maintenance. The 43:01, United Nations runs disaster relief dashboards with Power BI. 43:06, NASA uses Microsoft Cloud tools for space research. Governments use Teams too. 43:12, run remote parliaments and councils. This isn't a software company anymore. 43:18. Microsoft is the backbone of modern civilization. Everything we've covered so far, from 43:25, software cloud, from Word to AI, from the dorm room to the edge of space, has 43:32. One thing in common. Microsoft made it simple, powerful, and available to all. 43:38. They don't always make headlines. They're not always flashy. But in the background, they're building. 43:45. The world. Part 4, the final ascent. The numbers, the lessons, and the legacy. 43:51. Of Microsoft. Microsoft today is not just surviving. 43:56. It is dominating. Not through noise, not through drama, but through intelligence. 44:02. Consistency, empathy, and vision. Let's look at the scale, the legacy, and the lessons. Microsoft's reach today. Microsoft market value now makes it the most valuable company on earth, often trading places with other tech giants. Its annual revenue is greater than the GDP of many countries combined. Core businesses like Azure Cloud, Office, LinkedIn, Windows, Xbox and gaming, search and advertising, and developer tools all generate massive revenue streams. AI has become a new pillar of growth, with integration and licensing creating an entirely new business frontier. The company employs hundreds of thousands of people, with offices in nearly every country across every continent. Its global infrastructure spans dozens of data regions, powering cloud services, AI, gaming, government, and military systems. Microsoft's products are used by more than 1 billion people worldwide. Windows runs on hundreds of millions of devices. Office is standard in nearly every major company. The company has invested billions in AI, integrating powerful tools like Copilot and GPT into its entire ecosystem, and today it leads the enterprise AI market worldwide. But this story is not about numbers. It's about human potential, a story bigger than software. Microsoft didn't just sell tools. It helped build dreams. Students in Africa writing essays with Word, researchers in Europe running simulations on Azure, doctors in India scanning X-rays with AI, grandmothers in America calling grandchildren on Skype, developers in Indonesia building apps on GitHub. Microsoft quietly worked in the background, enabling others to shine. Like a good operating system, it didn't take the spotlight. It gave power to the people who used it. It all began with a young boy in Seattle, curious about computers, skipping gym class to spend time in front of a machine no one else cared about. That boy, Bill Gates, teamed up with Paul Allen, and together they created a programming language for a machine few believed in. From a tiny contract to a small office with no furniture, to building Windows, Office, and Word, they didn't just write code, they rewrote how humans live and work. The journey was never perfect. Microsoft faced lawsuits, backlash, and failures. It made products that flopped. It nearly missed the mobile revolution and almost became irrelevant. But then came Satya Nadella, an engineer from India. Quiet, humble, not flashy. He brought back empathy, humility, and bold thinking. Instead of rebuilding Microsoft's image with marketing, he rebuilt it from the inside with culture, cloud, and care. And under him, Microsoft did what very few companies ever do. It came back stronger and wiser. The lessons for the future: start small, think big. Microsoft began with one small project and a few lines of code. You don't need to begin big, but you must think with vision. Build useful things. Microsoft succeeded because it created tools people needed. Word to write, Excel to calculate, Windows to connect, Teams to communicate, Azure to grow. Be ruthless with vision, kind with people. Microsoft was once aggressive with competition. Nadella proved you can be strong without being harsh. Success and kindness can live together. Fail, learn, repeat. Microsoft made many mistakes. Failed products, bad strategies, but it kept learning, listening, and rebuilding. You're not defined by mistakes, but by how you respond. Evolve or die. Microsoft could have died when the world moved to smartphones, cloud, and AI, but it evolved and now leads. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. Let others win with you. Microsoft became powerful not by winning alone, but by creating platforms where others could succeed. Developers on GitHub, startups on Azure, students using Copilot, teachers using Teams, gamers enjoying Game Pass. Don't build a throne, build a stadium. Microsoft is not just a company. It is a reminder that the biggest organizations are often built in quiet rooms by ordinary people who refuse to give up. If you're reading this and you have a dream, an idea, or even just a feeling that you're meant to do something bigger, don't ignore it. Build it. Start with what you have. Work with what you know. Believe, even when no one else does. Microsoft's story doesn't end here. It's still being written, with every line of code, every AI model, every lesson, every teacher, and every dreamer it empowers. But your story, that's just beginning.